Tucker Carlson says if Donald Trump picks Nikki Haley, that he is not going to be voting for him, and that Nikki is going to wreck the chances that he has of winning the entire presidency. Tucker was speaking to Tim Pool, and here's what it sounded like.
Would you vote for Trump if he chose Nikki as VP? And
would you guys vote for Trump? Well, that's the question that I asked you specifically.
Well, I would not only not vote for that ticket, I would advocate against it as strongly as I could.
Wow.
Yeah. That's just poison. I mean, here's someone who's actively opposed to the interests of the country I grew up in, who endorsed the BLM riots, and who is not left, but is neoliberal in the darkest, most, speaking of nihilistic way, and has no real popular support, is a creature of the oligarchs. So yeah, that would be reason to oppose the ticket.
Even Trump, Haley is a no-go.
Nikki Haley,
he would get assassinated immediately if that were the case.
Yeah, and by the way, I just can't imagine a world where that could happen. That would be so crazy. Anything could happen, of course, but picking Nikki Haley, who's utterly treacherous and utterly dismissive of like the interests of Americans. Yeah.
It's a no-go for me, but it's a yes for BlackRock.
I think that's an interesting take. I mean, I think Nikki, let me be clear. I totally agree with Tucker on his position about Nikki. We've really hit Nikki, pretty hard here on this channel. But I do think that politically, it is not a bad move for Trump, especially if they want to consolidate all of the Republican opposition. So I can envision a world in which they force her on him, like the billionaire class, all of the establishment, like they just shove her in there, which is why I think that they are inflating her right now. So I can imagine a world, I think it sounds politically feasible for him because he has a women problem in general, and she is a woman. So I think that the likelihood of him picking a woman as a vice president is probably higher than it would ordinarily be. And she's number 2. So it makes me very nervous that it is this close. And what also makes me nervous is comments like this from this woman, Lara Trump, who was asked about this. Are we going to put Nikki Haley on the ticket? She says, never say never with Trump. Things like this could be possible. Now, we're going to play the opposite side of this because Don Jr. comes out and says, no, hold on a minute. We don't think this is actually going to happen.
Would he ever, as a VP, would he ever do that?
Crazier things have happened. I don't know. I would never say never with Donald J. Trump. Never say never.
You said that about Chris Christie. almost. All right, Lara, really.
Okay, so that's an interesting take. You don't really know what that means or not, but that is Lara Trump saying never say never. And Ron DeSantis is saying Nikki Haley can't win because Republicans just don't like her at all. Here's what Ron says about this.
But her problem is that she doesn't have a conservative record. She's an establishment candidate being funded by people like BlackRock, liberal donors in California, liberal Wall Street executives, and they're not funding her because she's going to be a change agent. They're funding her because they know she represents managed decline. She will not do what needs to be done to reverse the decline of this country. She also cannot beat Donald Trump in a one-on-one because she doesn't have support from conservatives. And so I think it's fine that these liberal donors are funding attacks on me, but I would tell Iowans that just shows I'm over the target. I'm the guy that they fear. That's why they're coming after me with big money.
Yeah, Nikki's getting a lot, I think, of lefty money too, right? They want, I think, an anchor on Trump. And so if they force her onto the Trump ticket, maybe Trump can win with her. I don't know. But I agree with that other point on Timcast that if she is number 2, there is going to be a strong incentive to get rid of number 1. Now, this is what Don Jr. says about this. He's saying, don't worry about it. Okay, even though Lara came on here and Lara said it might be Nikki, that's not true. Says, I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that doesn't happen.
The reason why I bring this up, Don, is because your sister-in-law was on the show last night, talked about Nikki Haley, and I said something like, well, would Trump ever consider Nikki Haley as a vice president on the ticket? And she said, not if she doesn't drop out very soon. And I said, well, if she did, she said, never say never. Now, she wouldn't say the same thing about Chris Christie. So let's play this soundbite, listen to this, and let me ask you the same question.
It's not about fitness. I think he's fit to be president. It's should he be president. I don't think he should be president. I thought he was the right president at the right time. I agreed with a lot of his policies. The problem is, you see our country is in disarray. Our world is on fire. And you can't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos. And Donald Trump brings us chaos. So it's not about being fit. It's just I don't think he's the right person to be president.
So what do you say, Don? Does effectively eliminate her from the potential VPs?
Listen, I wouldn't have her out. I would go to great lengths to make sure that doesn't happen. Nikki Haley wants never-ending wars. She's a puppet of the establishment in Washington, D.C. She's the new favored candidate of the billionaire class because they want control. No different than academia and Harvard and using their billions to exercise influence. They want someone they control. Ron DeSantis has proven that he doesn't have what it takes to be on that stage. He's embarrassed himself that way. She's now the preferred candidate. No, I would not want Nikki Haley to be there. All we get from her is never-ending wars. And by the way, all you'd get is a team trying to destroy Donald Trump from within forever. The second she ever got that, anointment, it would be a disaster of epic proportions. So I would hope that never is on the table, and I don't think it is.
Yeah. All right, so that is interesting, and hopefully that's true. I mean, I think that there are many other good candidates for Trump, but she just happens to be up in the lead right now as number 2. So she is still pulling away from the others. I mean, on election betting odds, you can see Nikki Haley there at 10%. Trump is still just crushing. 82% chance on election betting odds. And Ron DeSantis is now at 3.7. Christie's fallen off. Carlson's still up there. We've got Trump 41 over Joe to 29 on the U.S. presidency in 2024. And so it feels like they might try to just strap her on like an anchor onto Trump to see if they can keep him under control. And hopefully he doesn't fall for that.